gauge for 1 minute. There should be no more than 3 pounds of air pressure lost at this time. Now, depress the brake for 1 minute and watch the air pressure gauge. You should lose no more than 4 pounds of pressure at this time. Allow 1 minute to do each of these checks. You should now pump the brake pedal until air pressure reaches 60 pounds. The air pressure light or alarm should be on at this time. Continue to pump the pressure down until the valves in the dash pop. This should happen between 20 and 40 pounds of pressure. Make sure the truck's in neutral. Now you can start the engine. Increase the RPMs up to about 1200 and let the air pressure build in the system up to about 85 pounds of pressure. The pressure should then go from 85 pounds to 100 pounds in a time span of 45 seconds. When the system fully charges to 120 pounds of pressure, pump the brake pedal until pressure reaches 90 pounds and ensure the compressor engages at 90 pounds. Now let the system rebuild to 120 pounds of pressure once again. Next, separate pull tests should be done for both the tractor and the trailer. Move the vehicle at 3 to 5 miles per hour and apply the brakes. There should be no pull left or right. Also check the speedometer for operation at this juncture. The air brake system is now complete. Turn on all vehicle lights. Make sure the dash lights operate properly, along with turn signals, four-way indicators, high and low beam headlamps, and look in the unit's permit book for proper documentation. And finally, check the seatbelt operation for proper function. Properly exit the tractor using the 3 points of physical contact method once again. Walk around the entire unit and carefully examine each light to ensure no bulbs are out of operation. Now for the trailer pre-trip inspection. We begin at the front of the trailer, looking for external damage. We're going to check the glide hands and make sure we have good rubber seals. Check all electrical boxes to make sure they are in good working order. Check the vehicle registration to make sure it's up to date. Make sure the vehicle is properly inspected. Next, look at the apron and kingpin to make sure that it's not cracked or broken. We're looking at the landing gear to make sure that our sand shoes are free of debris, connected and properly greased, and all the mounts are in place. Make sure the handle is firmly intact, not broken, and can turn freely. Check the bolt to make sure it's properly secured. Now going down the side of the trailer, make sure that it has no sign of damage and that the reflective tape is in place. The lights are properly secure. We're also looking at frame rails to make sure that they're not cracked. Check the air tank to make sure it's properly mounted and that all hose connections are secure. Check the brake chambers. Make sure they're secure and not damaged. Now checking the slack adjusters to make sure there's no more than 1 inch of play. Inspect the brake drum for cracks or damage. Inspect the brake pads to make sure they're not cracked or broken and that they have a minimum depth of 1/4 of an inch. Check the springs to make sure they're not cracked, shifted, broken, or missing. Check the U-bolts to make sure they're not cracked or broken or missing. Check the torsion bars to make sure they're properly secure and not broken. And check the bushings to make sure they're not missing. Now check the tire tread depth so that they have a minimum tread depth requirement of 2/32 of an inch. Make sure they're free of debris, cracks, bulges, and cuts. Check the tire rim to make sure it's not cracked or welded. Check the lug nuts to make sure that they're tight. Inspect the hub to make sure that the hub oils are not leaking. And of course, make sure that there's a valve stem cap. Now check the mud flaps to make sure they're secure. Continue to check all of the frame rails and check the cross members. Check the rail for the slider pins. Make sure all of the pins are in proper position. Make sure the handle is in place, properly secured. Now checking the door securements. Make sure they're not cracked. Make sure nothing is missing. Check the door seals, the door hinges. Make sure they're not cracked, broken, or missing. Check the door latches to make sure they're properly secured. Check all of the lights to make sure they're working, not broken. And check to make sure there is a proper license plate in place. Make sure the light is working and be sure the plate is current. Check the ICC bumper to see that it's not cracked, broken, or missing, and that it has a minimum of 24 inches of ground clearance. Now check the right side of the trailer the same way as we checked the left side. Now we move on to secure the load. And as you enter the back of the trailer, be sure to use 3 points of contact. Now in strapping the load, we go on to secure it without damaging the product. So we're looking for a good solid wrap in the center. Just snugging it up against the freight to be sure not to damage the freight. At this point, a second strap will be put into place. On a higher center of gravity load, you can crisscross straps from top to bottom so that you're able to cover the top, middle, and bottom for a secure load. To exit the vehicle, make sure you have 3 good points of contact. Make sure you're safe getting out of the trailer. As you begin to secure the door, make sure your hand is positioned on the door so that it cannot blow back and cause injury. Make sure the door closes securely, both at the bottom and at the top. Then place your seal or lock.